I'm pretty knowledgeable about what happened in Harris County, which was a disaster. And it was evident it was going to be a disaster some weeks ago. First, I think the strategy was terribly flawed in a midterm election where historically it's hard to get people to vote, to expend resources registering voters. And probably a pretty big mistake to secondarily emphasize going after low propensity but arguably persuadable voters and pour resources into that instead of identifying, which is easy to do, your reliable base voters and trying to drive up their percentages. And of course, say in Houston, that's the sizable black vote, instead of these activities that, based on the literature and work of Greengerber and everybody else, we know you have to make a huge investment to get much return. And so in Houston, which obviously was one of their very biggest targets, they totally flopped. And it was evident it flopped by about a week out. And they were just putting the resources in the wrong place. The local party operation independently of Battleground Houston countered that a little bit in some areas. But in Houston, our vote dropped from 800,000 to 675,000 in Harris County, and again, particularly dropped heavily in Democratic base areas. So this was a flop, and it wasted a lot of money, and I don't think we'll see this Battleground Texas survive. And other things, the cherry on top of their disastrous cake was this misleading memo that went out that anybody looking at the statewide data that's available from the Secretary of State's office could immediately say, there's something terribly wrong with this analysis. It just simply can't be true.
Dick, would you go ahead and describe for people who aren't aware of that? So this came out, was it Thursday or Friday, I guess?
Yes, toward the end. Jeremy Byrd, who's one of the principals in Battleground, sent out to try to counter the growing and realistic sense of doom on the Democratic side. We're doing a lot better than you think in early voting. And, we have the Secretary of State collects the data from the 15 largest counties and posts that every day. So it's not like this data is not inaccessible. In counties like Harris, the locals are tracking every day's voting, and they know who voted, and they're analyzing it, and we know how many base voters have turned out, and so forth. And all of these indicators were very bad for Democrats. I mean, this memo comes out, and it's just basically BS. It's just simply factually wrong and misinterprets things that it was, just something I can't believe somebody that's a professional would allow to go out, to the broader world. You might circulate that internally to try to pump up the troops, but to send this out as a press release, it's just stupid.